Yeah, they just use your job to say you have to buy the round of drinks.
Yeah, exactly. That's when we were a bit younger. It was the classic, like they would wake up on a Sunday, like, oh, I know I went out with Jayden because they'd have up my name on Google to get us into the front line of a club or something, which I used to hate. But they'd be like, fuck, let's not wait, and they'd go up to the bounce and show them the Google, and then they wake up on a Sunday all hungover, like, oh fuck, we must have gone and used the Jayden Hunt card, like. It's very funny.
Well, what's that life like when you like suddenly you go from just being you're Tom, Dick and Harry to boom, you're walking into clubs just because of who you are?
Yeah, it's pretty surreal. My draft night, for example, was so surreal. Like, I didn't tell any of my friends that I was a chance because, to be honest, I didn't think I was a chance. It all happened in this 3-week period. Like fitness testing, interviewing with all these clubs during my exam period. I didn't want to tell my friends because I didn't want to tell them this story that I still didn't think would happen. And so the draft night was a very funny story. All my friends were at this draft party with for Josh and Christian, Josh Kelly and Christian Salem. They were up on the Gold Coast, so they were top 10 picks. I went for a surf with my best mate Sam, and I told him on the way back, because I'd missed these like the valedictory parties and all that, which I'd always be front and centre for because I had meetings with Collingwood, Melbourne, Essendon and all these clubs like the next day and things. So I was catching trains home with my parents and stuff.
You missed the entire VC piss up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And schoolies, because that was after I got drafted. I had to sell my schoolies ticket to a friend.
You sacrificed for the Melbourne Demons.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, poor me. But yeah, it was just a weird period, but I didn't want to tell anyone. And anyway, I said, like, look, there's this very slim chance that I'll get picked up tonight in the draft. He's like, what? What do you mean? And I told him, he's like, that makes so much sense. We were all thinking something's happened because you weren't hanging out with us during this period. I was like, yeah, well, like, can you just in case, like, have the TV on through the picks 50s and 60s. So anyway, I was just at home with mum and dad, my sisters or whatever. And Josh and Christian got picked up early and all of my mates were on the piss and whatever. And then Sam got everyone in. Everyone was a bit confused. And then anyway, Melbourne picked up my name, which at home we all missed because Collingwood had said they'd pick me at 65. Melbourne said they'd only pick me in the rookie draft the week after, so they were playing a bit of games. And so mum just saw my name at the bottom and we're all confused whether it was me or not. And then all of a sudden my phone was going off and we're like, oh, like, I think you just got drafted in Melbourne. Like, it's like, do you know? Like, it was very weird, but the boys back at this party, they'd actually seen it live with the player number and everything, and they went bananas. Some of them like tearing up because it was a bit different because it was just like one of the normal dudes that got picked up, not one of the sort of players that had been in the state teams, the rep teams and stuff. It was just a normal dude that got picked up. And so I was just like, what is going on? And they ended up getting maxi taxis over to my house. We went out and we were at the Ritz on like a Thursday night or whatever, like it was back in the day. And it was the first time the Jayden Hunt card was played in the line. I was just like, what the hell? It was like me and like 10, 15 mates all went into the front of the line just because I got drafted that night. And then all the other draftees were there. It was just funny.
Oh, fuck, that's sick.
Yeah, it was just very fun. I was like... And then, yeah, it was probably a couple of years later before I actually started playing in the ones where I'd start getting recognised at bars and people would come up to me for photos and stuff like that. Or the other end, someone would come up and try to teach me how to kick a good drop punt. I just smiled like, oh, sorry, mate. Like, I'll work on it. I'll tell the coaches that you told me this little technique. Yeah.
Hey, Choco.
Yeah, exactly. Choco. Yeah, you know Choco.
Yeah.
Yeah, mate, this guy at the pub told me I had to slow down before I kick, which I did need to do. He's probably right.
Well, what's it like having punters fucking come at you left, right and centre with advice and shit like that? And how much is it just water off a duck's back, and how much do people actually feel it?
I think with anything like that, I find it so funny. I just laugh. Like, I honestly just like, I always give them a time of day. I'm like, I pretend that I'm interested. I'm like, oh, that's a really good point. Like, no one's ever told me that before, that I need to slow down before I kick. Not that I'm drilled into that hours a week. Like, it's just so funny. I was pretty lucky. I don't know. I think I don't really care what people think. So I'm not like I'm a lover, not a fighter, other than when I sort of cross the white line. So, like, I couldn't care less about that stuff. I know some players will arc back, and that's when you get in trouble. But I almost just laugh it off. And it's just funny. People on, like, Instagram DMs, I reply to a lot of the haters and stuff. They like, send some pretty heinous sort of stuff. And it's just funny. Like, you reply in a very diplomatic way, being like, oh, that's a good point. Like, I'll work on that. And then all of a sudden, they're, like, your biggest fans. Like,
right, yeah.
I've got people that message me weekly that started with harassing me. It's just funny. I just think that's the best way to deal with it.